Yeah. All right. Let's see. Everyone's rolling in. We'll give it a second here. But what? Oh, my camera went out. Okay, that happened last time. It'll come back on. There I am.
There it is.
It is. Yours didn't though. See, the last one Doug's did, so that's great. Oh, it's just so exciting that Zoom cannot keep up. You know.
Right.
Uh, so welcome everyone to this. I know there's tons of people rolling in. This is gonna be really fun, and welcome Matt to the webinar, your first training camp webinar.
Yep.
Super excited to have you.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, we roped him in. We're like, hey, you want to do this? Like, all right, let's do this, Matt. Like, dragging you in. But for all of you on here, though, there's a reason why Matt is on this webinar, and you will find out. He knows his stuff when it comes to these topics. So it'll be awesome. But I know everyone's rolling in here, but just want to say again, welcome to the second session of day 3 of Travefy Training Camp. I can't believe it. We only have one more left today, and then tomorrow's the last day. It's going super fast. But this webinar is gonna be really fun because we're talking about the website and landing page builder, which is such an underutilized tool, I personally think. And so I'm really excited for all of you to be here and learn more about it. And hopefully, if you haven't already, you implement this into your sales work or your business flow. You start using this for your business. But a couple of things that I need to go over first, just a little housekeeping. And again, if you've been on these sessions already, you've heard this. But if this is your first one or you've only been to a couple, we are doing certification for Travefy Training Camp. So this week, if you attend 5 or more sessions, you will get Training Camp certified. So you'll get this badge, which is really great. The badge that you're seeing on your screen, you'll get that, and then also a certificate. And so you just need to attend 5 or more. So a lot of you have probably already gotten there because we've already had well over 5 at this point. But in about a week or two, we will reach out to you. So we know that you attended them. So we'll reach out to you and send you that information. Oh, it looks like Jane said, excited for this session. Yeah, so excited. And Carol's learning so much. It's great. It's going to be a good one. But anyway, before I get too excited and ahead of myself, so training camp certified, but we also released this week a big announcement that we are going to have Travefy certification. So like the big thing, the main one of Travefy certification. And we're going to release that next week. And all of you are going to be the first people to get notified about it. So if you signed up for training camp, if you're in here, you did. So you will get an email about that once that launches. And we're going to have Travefy certification, an advanced course for that as well. And then we already do have one for CLIA members as well. So there's one, if you go to certification.travefy.com, that's already in there. If you are a CLIA member, you can take this certification course and earn elective credits towards your CLIA membership. So pretty awesome. But yes, that has been really exciting to announce that this week to everybody. But before I dive in here too, I do want to mention again that we are recording this. So this session's being recorded. All of them have been recorded and you can watch them. You just need to give it maybe 15, 20 minutes once it concludes just to render and get uploaded. But if you just go to travefytrainingcamp.com, you will see all of them there. You can access all of them. So you'll be able to watch that recording. The other thing to mention too is that we're going to have a Q&A. So hopefully, I never really know how much time we're going to have at the end, but I feel like this one we should have a decent amount of time. But also I say that and we could have 10 minutes left. You never know. But we're going to try to get to as much as we can. I also have Matt back there, though. He's going to be helping doing chat in there, too, when I'm not pulling him in on certain parts to answer other things. But he's going to be multitasking back there. But just all to say, though, that there's a very likely chance that we can't get to everything just because there's these sessions. We've been completely blessed that these sessions have been very well attended. So if there isn't something that we get to, please do email us at professional@travefy.com or chat us in your app and we can help answer those. And it might even be Matt helping answering, personalized support right there. All that.
Stephanie, before you get going, can you
Yeah.
just share a little bit more about how people can get the advanced certification?
Oh, absolutely. So we'll release that next week. So next week, once we do release it, the both of them will be so it's Travefy certification and advanced. They're going to come out. I don't know. I don't want to say it will be at the same time. I think it might be, but if they're not, it'll be like a week later. But you'll get notified when it's ready. But it'll be all on certification.travefy.com. So they'll be on there. So stay tuned. So just keep all of this information in the back of your head and remember it's coming. So that's an exciting thing. So thank you, Matt. Also, I have to say, Stacy just popped in and said, Matt was awesome helping me with my website questions. See, that is why we have him on this webinar. He's good at this stuff. So it's perfect. It'll be awesome. But the really quick, oh, and one thing, okay, just really quick before I go on that, since we're talking about, but Yolanda mentioned she was on a session. So just to clarify, there's no certification that you get today. It'll be about a week or two, and we will reach out to you. So we'll reach out to you in about a week or two with that certification information. So just FYI on that. So you won't get anything like right away. Just clarifying that. But I'm going to switch my screen. I'm going to take a drink of water here. I made the mistake of eating peanuts before this, and now the little shells are back there. That was a horrible mistake. But I just want to go ahead and get into the website builder. And again, keep those questions, as they come. This will be really great. What I'm planning to do during this session is we're going to focus on the website landing page builder. But what I'm going to do first is basically a website builder overview. I'm just going to show, how it works. And apologies, hold on. See, I will not eat trail mix before this again. It's a risky one. And then, so we're going to walk through a website builder overview. I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to go through pretty much all of it. And then after that, I'm going to show you some pro tips. So I'm going to call out some specific things in there. And then we're going to talk about SEO, and that is where my good friend Matt is also going to come in. Spoiler alert, he's coming in on that. And then I'm going to talk about the landing page builder. So I'm going to talk to you kind of about how that works, and then we'll get into Q&A as well. But okay, here we go. And Alan said, no Dr. Pepper today. Alan, I haven't had Dr. Pepper today. It's this instead. Oh, we're going for the big stuff. But Matt's my fellow Dr. Pepper pal. And I'm surprised we should have been prepared and had a Dr. Pepper on this session.
We should have,
messed up.
yeah.
Well, after this, it's our treat after we're done with this. So have no fear, we will get that Dr. Pepper. Love it. But okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is where do you find the website? So the really great thing is that the website builder is part of your subscription. So if you have a Travefy account, it's in there already, and you can access it just by when you first log into your account. So it'll look kind of like how I have it. And then click on your name in the top right-hand corner and then click website. So you just click website and that brings you right in. Now, if it's your first time opening the website builder, you will see the different themes first. So you'll see some different themes available, and we have 4 different themes you can choose from. And that is the Azure theme here, the Stellar theme, Kaizen, and Santorini. Now, I'm using the Santorini theme, but really what you can do is you can use either one of these themes. And the best part is you're not stuck to one of the themes. So if you want to move to the Kaizen one, you can. So see how I'm just flipping through? And you can pick and choose which one you want to do. So if you kind of want to play around with that, you really can. So that's what's really great. So you can pick your theme, and then pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to build with elements. So that's what I'll walk through. But here's the cool thing. So with this website builder, something to keep in mind is that the website, this whole builder, and as you can probably already tell from just seeing this view already, is that it's designed to be simple and streamlined. That's the whole point of it. There's a lot of other website builders out there. They have every bell and whistle, every feature you could ever want, but that just also makes them really complex. And it's also really hard. You're busy, and to take the time to create a website, I mean, that's what people's jobs are, to create websites. So we wanted to build a website tool based off of your feedback that's easy to use, it's simple, and it just gives you a really professional looking website. Now, one thing I want to preface also before I go any further is if you already have a website, that's great. And this can still work for you because this can be just an extra additional marketing tool as well. So, just saying, it's really great. And with that, once you get that theme, you can also do a lot of branding in here as well. You can change like the theme color if you want. So you can pick if you know the specific theme color, like a hex number, things like that. Otherwise, you can pick out your own if you want to. You can pick those in there. You can also go into, so let me just save that. If you go into your settings, this is where you can put your logo. So your logo can go in here. And then you also, though, have, if I go back into settings, you also have the option for a favicon. And a favicon is it's a little image that you see in the top tab. So if you can see where my mouse is up at the top, there's like that little Travefy airplane. That's a favicon. So you can actually upload your own favicon in there. So they do need to be at least just 90. They're really small. So 96 by 96 pixels. So it's really small. So if you want to take like a little piece of your logo, you can do that, and put that in there. But a lot of different things. And if you have any questions on favicon or any of that, definitely let us know as well. But it's awesome. I mean, I'm just pointing out like how branded this gets. It gets very branded. So you can put your logo in there. Your logo will go in that nav bar, which will automatically be displayed in there. And then the great thing with this nav bar is you can add links to things. You can also, upload social media icons, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to see that here today. So I'm quickly highlighting it, but we're going to go further into it. But one of the most important things about the website builder is how it works. I mentioned it's easy. We call it dead simple because it really is. It's so easy to use. And what it is it's really just a drag and drop interface that you can build to create what it is that you want. And how you do that is with what we call elements. So elements is all of these. So you see this custom cruise packages and wine tours. That's one element. If I click into this one, that's another element. These are all separate elements. And you can either use those elements, you can delete them if you want, or you can just add them yourself and drag and drop them in. So to see all those different elements and how to use those, just click the new element button in that top right hand corner there and then you'll be able to see all of the elements available. So you can scroll through. And again, these are all going to be customized for that specific theme. So if you had like the Azure theme, they'll look a little bit different, but they're still the same elements, still always the same elements. All of these in here. And you can see there's a lot of them to choose from, and they're all pretty straightforward. Most of the time, the navigation bar is one where you won't need all of them. You can pretty much just pick like what color do you want it to be? Do you want it to be white like I have? Do you want it to be your branded color, or do you want it to be this darker blue color, the alternate? You can pick and choose from there. And when you want to add something, you just drag and drop it in. So you can just drag and drop it, see how that little green box is appearing. You just drag and drop that right in. So really simple to do. But I'm going to delete that. Wait, yeah, okay, cool. Didn't save there. So that's really what you do. I mean, you just add certain elements. Now I'm going to call out a few elements. So some of my top ones that I see the most and how they work really well with Travefy. But that's how you can do that, adding all of those different ones in there. There's also different ways that you can add images in here. So each of these elements, again, you can customize each one, but you can always add different images. So as you can see, this image in the background right here on this hero, what we call the elements called a hero. And if you click the image right here, you can always, use our free stock photos. So if you're familiar with, you've been on our other sessions, this is probably nothing new to you, is all of the different ways that you can add photos, but it works the same way in the website builder where you can search for our free stock photos. You can upload your own if you wanted, pull from a website, copy and paste. I mean, sky's the limit. You can really add whatever you would like in there in those as well. Same with like this element too. You can see the different image right there. You can edit, where the subheading is. You don't have to have that subheading. You can put descriptions, all kinds of things. So lots of different things, ways that you can add all of those photos. So that's kind of how. And this one, actually, speaking of photos, this is an image banner. So you can also have like a carousel or a whole entire image. So I know a lot of times, depending on what you specialize in, you might want to put a lot of photos. Like if you specialize, how we just had the Disney webinar, if you specialize in like theme parks and Disney and you want to put a lot of photos, people can scroll through, you can do that. Now, a couple other things that I want to point out before I dive a little deeper into these is just some of the buttons to be aware of when you're building these. So every time that you edit something or add a new element, you'll always just want to make sure you click that save button. So just click that save button there, and then it'll expand back out. You can always preview what you're doing. So if you click the preview button here, you can see what it is looking like for you. And here's a really cool thing about that is remember now that when people are viewing this, that a lot of times they're going to be viewing this on mobile. A lot of the times that's what we see. A lot of travelers are going to be on their phone before maybe on their computer. So if you see right up here at the top, you can also click the mobile tab and you can see what it looks like in mobile. So that's pretty great. It's really nice and really important just to double check that and just make sure that it's looking good, in there. So that's one thing to be aware of. The other thing is that when you publish this, so publishing this is where it's going to push it live. So if you make any updates, make sure you click that publish button at the top there, and that will update. So you can make as many updates and changes as you want without actually publishing it. But it is important to remember that publish button because I do it a lot when I'm doing things and I forget to hit the publish button. So just make sure you do that in there. And then the last one to make sure of is that settings button right here. This, again, we're going to come back into this in just a little bit to talk more about the SEO and social side. But this is extremely important because this is where you'll see, all of your elements and you can rearrange them in here if you wanted. You can do that. That favicon that we talked about, where your theme is living, and then your SEO and social, which again, we're going to come back. We're going to have a whole part on that. So there'll be lots to learn in there. But that's pretty much the high level overview. That is a high level overview of what to expect in that website builder and kind of how it works, how it all works together. But now what I want to talk about is just calling out some elements and also how do you make this like a multi-page website or how you link to things. So first, what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to call out two different elements that I want to walk through with you, just so it gives you a good idea of how the elements are working, but also they work really well with Travefy. And you'll see what I mean when I get in there. So the first element that I want to talk about is adding trips. So we have an element in here, and it's already in this actually, where I have the large card gallery, but you could also use what's called the trip gallery. So that's probably easier to remember. Just remember the trip gallery. And the trip gallery is where you can create or you can pull in trips that you've created in your Travefy account. So you're kind of seeing now how they're going together. So when you create a trip in Travefy, we've talked about this before in previous sessions, build a trip in Travefy and use it for marketing. I mean, why not? Because it looks the same. You have this itinerary that has all this information and it could be used as a marketing tool. Well, in the website builder, you can actually link it in there. And let me show you how it works. It's really easy. Basically, you just first want to get into the edit mode of that card gallery. And then what you can do is you have these cards. So each one of these are called cards. Now you don't have to have 3. You can also have more than 3. You can have as many as you want. But I'm just going to delete one just to show you an example. That's what it'll do. It'll size it back up into scale. But then what you'll do is if you just click that pencil icon to edit it, just click that. Now I could change this heading if I want. I can add information. But there's really no reason to do that because I'm going to import everything from Travefy. So instead of doubling up my work, what I can do is right down at the bottom where it says import from Travefy, just click on that. And then you can choose the trip. And then in here, these are all of the trips that I have currently in my Travefy account that are active. So I can choose from any of these. So I'm just going to choose this Venice, Italy trip right here. I'm just going to click on it and it adds it. So see how it just adds it right in there? Now it's already added, so there's nothing else I need to do. But if I do want to change any, like the heading. So I could say sample itinerary, Venice, Italy. The badge is really awesome because this is a great place if you want to put like pricing or if you want to just call it out, like now booking. Anything that you want to do that you want to call out, you can use that little badge. It's a really great way to do that. You can also put a description in there, but you also don't have to have a description. You can add, you can see those formatting options, bolding, italicizing, adding links, all that good stuff. The image is just going to pull from what your cover photo is of that trip. But if you want to add your own image, you could change that. But otherwise, that's all you do. And I'm just going to click save here. And I want to show you what this is looking like. So if I publish this and then preview, if we scroll down, so we're previewing this now. So here's the one that I just added, this one right here. And if I click view trip, see how it opens a new page. And this is probably looking very familiar to you. This is that it looks just like an itinerary that you would send to a client. And they can view this, again, any screen, it'll look good. I have all that information here. But here's what I love about this is right up at the top where it says contact. So usually it would have like your client's option to get in the app or the itinerary, or if it's a proposal, approve it. But in this case, it's a contact button. So it's kind of a lead magnet in a way. They can go ahead and put in their information and say, I want to plan this trip with you. So that's what's really cool about that. So that's just kind of showing you, how the website builder just works with the rest of your Travefy account in there. Now, the second one that I want to show you of how this Travefy is just working with everything else is including forms. So, if you're not familiar, forms is a way that it's built into your Travefy account that you can create a form to collect any type of information. So whether it's like a new traveler inquiry form or whatever it might be, any of those forms that you need to create. So you can create that form in Travefy, and then you can sync it into your website. So let's say, for example, I do have one in here actually already. So I'll show you how I did this. But let's say in here, I want to add a button that says like, start booking your trip now. And that button is basically just going to ask them general traveler questions or like ask them like, where do you want to go? What dates are you thinking? What is your budget? Whatever it is that you need to ask at the beginning of the planning process, you can put that in here. So how that would work is pretty much, I believe it's any element in here, minus the only elements it wouldn't work with is like the carousel or the image. But any other element, you'll have the option where you can add buttons. So I'm gonna delete this just so I can start over. But right at the bottom, and again, you'll see this on pretty much any of those elements where it says add button, and you just click that. And then in here, you can choose where's this button going to? Is it going to a different page, which means, a page that you've built, which I'll talk about here in just a few minutes. An external link. So do you need to send them? Do you have somewhere else you need to send them? A website that you already have, another landing page? Do you want to just get emailed? So you can just send an email address or form, which is what we're looking for in this case. So I'm going to click the form option. And then you can either create a new form directly from here. So you could just do it. You don't have to go back out to your library and create it. You can do it right in there. Or you can say import from Travefy, and it will show you all the forms that you currently have. Now you're going to notice that there are some that look like they're blocked for me. The ones that are grayed out with that little thing, that is because I was in those specific forms. It's asking for credit card authorization information or an e-signature, which is secure information that can only be sent directly to a client. So you won't be able to add that type of form into the website, but you wouldn't want to. That would be kind of strange. Hey, if you just want to ask for what's your payment information. So you won't be able to do that. So if you do notice that you have a form and it's not coming through, that is why that's happening. But otherwise, all the other forms that are available will come in here. So let's say I want to do the new traveler form. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose that one and then click, and I want to change this text. I can say, start your adventure here, or whatever you want to put. You can just change that button text and then click save. And then again, let's preview this. So here it is. And this is really cool. I will show you why, because see how there's that button we just created. But look, it keeps it in this website. So that's what I love about the forms is that it keeps everything in here. So this is what I set up, on this form, all of this type of thing. And again, it's any type of question you need. And it looks good mobile too. So check out mobile. Isn't that great? It's so cool that it just keeps it looks so nice and just so organized. And talk about, can you just see, I feel like your wheels are spinning on the marketing possibilities of this. So it's really incredible, being able to do all of that. So those are the two elements that I wanted to highlight. But now the next thing that I want to highlight is, how do you're probably wondering, okay, how do I make this like a multi-page thing? So how do I get them to go to, if I want one page that's all about, river cruises, how do I do that? Well, there's two different ways you can do it. So one, you can have one page that has all the information. So it's just a really simple page like I have right here. But what I can do is up at the top where this nav bar is, or you can do it in your footer. Your nav bar, your footer is where you're going to want to go for this. I can add items. So that way I'm going to say, I want to add a link here that says page section. And let's say, for example, let's say new traveler. Start here. And again, this isn't going to be great. You'll come up with way better things to put. But let's just say this is a link though, that I want them to do. So when they come onto my page, I want them to be able to pick where they want to go first. And so if I want them to fill out that form, like I want to say, if you're a new traveler and I sent you to this website because I want you to get all your information to me, then I could put this link at the top. And then I have it set to page section, which means that it's going to go to somewhere else in the page. So what it'll do is it'll tell you, it'll change it if you change that large headline to capture attention. I just never change that title. But if you change the title to, new traveler start here, that's what it would say. But basically, when I click that, and this again, this might sound confusing, but it'll make a lot more sense when you see this here. When you preview this now, right up at the top, I just added this link. So when I click that, see how it just brings me down here. So if you want to push them to a certain part of the page, that's how you do that. So if you don't want them to scroll and scroll and scroll, you just want them to go straight to a spot, that's how you do that. You just make that link at the top there. So it's really easy, but hopefully that makes sense there. Now, if you want to create a multi-page thing, I don't want to talk too much about this. I don't want to get too in the weeds yet because I want to talk about this with landing pages. But you can create new pages, and then when you do create those new pages, so again, let's say you have a page that's all for river cruises that you're booking, then you can create that page in a new page, and then when up here you can add a new link again, and you'll just choose the page option and you'll see all the pages that you've created. So that's how that links back and forth. It links all over. Now, one quick pro tip on that is if you are building other pages, like you want it to be a multi-page website, you can always copy these entire things. So instead of starting from scratch every single time, you can actually, if you go into a settings, you can click those little three dots there and then copy current page. So that's just a good tip that if you are going to create a multi-page website, maybe you want to copy it. And then that way you can still have your nav bars the same and all that, and you're just adding to it. But a lot of options there. But, and again, if there's questions on that, let us know and we can help answer that. But the next thing I want to get into though, is I want to talk about SEO, because the other beautiful thing about this website builder is that it's all you can build whatever you want. It's a great marketing tool, but it's also so good at SEO. So that's what I said at the beginning. If you already have a website, I still would use this because it's also going to help with SEO. But to talk about SEO, first, I'm going to bring in my good friend Matt here because Matt has an SEO background. And Matt, I can't do it as good as you would. Can you just give a quick overview and explain what SEO is and why it's important?
Yeah, sure. So SEO, what's great about that, what it stands for, first of all, is it's search engine optimization. And what it's going to do is, when you Google something, you're going to get links that show up. And so what SEO is making your website optimized so that it stands a good chance of showing up in those search results on Google and other search engines. So that is basically the summary of what it is and why it's important. Because when your clients have when they have your website address, they can, of course, type that into their navigation bar and they can find it directly. But you also want people who don't know about your business to also learn about it. So if they're typing in relevant search phrases into Google, if you have good SEO, they can discover your website.
Yeah. So it's really, really important. And I'm going to go through a couple things in here as well as just on the SEO. So we built this with SEO in mind. And so that's why when you see in the settings, there is this SEO and social option in here. And why we say social. So the social part of it means, see this social preview. That's what it looks like when you add the link to your website on like Facebook, for example. So if you've been on our other sessions, you remember how when we do, we will post it to Facebook sometimes and we'll show you what it looks like. That's what it's doing. So you'll see here that you have like that picture, your website, and then whatever it is that you have named your website. So I'm going to call out a couple things. So this is how you want to make sure that your SEO is just really good. So the first thing is your page title. So in this social preview, see how it says luxury Mediterranean and river cruises serving Nebraska and Iowa. So where that's coming from is right on the site page, you can put a page title. Now, this is where you don't just want to put your company name. You don't just want to say VIP travel company, because for a search engine, that's not really going to do too much. But if you're able to put a little more information into it that still makes sense, this is a great example. So if you so think about what it is you're specializing in, maybe putting that in that title. So like like in this like just luxury Mediterranean river cruises, and just think about how you want to do that there. And feel free, Matt, to chime in if there's anything too on that, because I know it can sound like you're doing something wrong, but you're not. It's just you just want to think about how can I add those keywords.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will share my screen just a little bit to show you how I have it set up.
Oh, that's perfect.
And just what you'll commonly see for companies. And we'll just address that title here.
Cool.
So I'll share that. So what you'll likely see companies do, especially for their homepage, as Stephanie mentioned, you do want your brand. And so in my example website here, my company name is Culinary Tours of Nebraska, but you also like to summarize what your agency does, like what you specialize in. And so this is a good way to capture more traffic than just people directly searching for what your company name is. If I was looking for top rated food tours in Nebraska, having this kind of information would be valuable. And see if I actually go out to Google and I Google something along those lines, you'll see that my website does come up down here. And a lot of times what people will do for a homepage, they'll put the actual brand first, and then they'll put that pipe symbol, which is it's right above the enter key. And then they'll use the phrase that best describes their business in a concise way. You do want it to not be too lengthy, otherwise it'll be truncated, kind of like you see up here with this example. So just something to keep in mind, and those are sort of the best practices there for the title.
Awesome. Thank you. No, that is awesome. That's the thing. And that's why I was really excited to bring Matt into this, because it is, just really here. I'm gonna share my screen again. There we go. There's just a lot that, you can do. And then you can also even take it further. If you go back into that SEO and social, where the SEO site description, that also can be a really, really important thing, where you can expand on your page title as well. So like I have just discover bucket list travel experiences, 5-star rate. And again, it doesn't have to say this, but it's just a good option, think about, and I bet you already have it technically, like on any marketing you've done, you've probably already done a sentence or two about why your business rocks. And so that's what you'll just want to put in there. So that's the other area. Other things to keep in mind when it comes to SEO too is the hero section. So that's this first one right here. So you don't necessarily have to have a hero section, but it is a really great thing to have. I would recommend, just because it's going, and maybe it's not a hero. Maybe this is the first section of your website. So maybe it doesn't look like this. It doesn't all have to look like this. But see how I have custom cruise packages and wine tours. I probably could have done a better job on that, honestly, but think about that too. Like, try to put your keywords in there, and then also anywhere in the content. So anywhere you have text, that's also filtering into there as well. So it'll probably, and that honestly probably happens naturally. So you don't have, so I wouldn't, be too worried that you're not doing it. But as long as you have like text in the content, it's probably happening pretty naturally that, your SEO is going in there. But again, just think, be descriptive, use keywords where you can, all that good stuff. And I'm sure we'll come back to SEO in the questions, Matt, but is there anything I'm missing that about SEO?
No, I think you covered the most important part, and that is that the content is the primary thing. Some of these factors like the title and certain keywords that you use in a page, that is going to help Google and other search engines figure out what the page is about. But what they're trying to do is deliver pages that meet people's expectations. So if we're looking at cruise packages and wine tours, if someone's Googling that, they want a page that delivers that kind of content. So the content is the most important thing when it comes to having good SEO.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and I just saw a question. So thank you. I'm glad that you just asked this, Linda. She said, what about image alt text? Yes. So that is another thing. So that also goes into your SEO as well, is the image alt text. And if you click this little, if you ever see those, by the way, those little question marks, you can click on them and they take us to FAQs. And it'll explain more about that. But that also filters into SEO in there as well. And Matt, sorry to put you on the spot again, but you are going to explain it better than I do. So can you explain too, every time there's a spot for an image, you can always do image alt text. And why is that important?
Yeah. So image alt text, really the benefit there is it's when it comes to images on Google search. So if someone were to be looking for like a European river cruise and you use that as your image alt text, that specific image and where that image is found, which would be your website, that's what's going to direct people to your traffic. So, or to your website. So just for an example, going back to the European river cruises, if I were to Google that in my browser and I click the images tab, again, like having that image alt text is going to help Google figure out what that image actually is and serve that up as a result when people are looking for those images.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I actually get it. I don't think I really understood it as well now. And now I get it. Like, I'm glad I had you answer that. Cause yeah, I understand, the SEO, but that's like when you're Googling for things and you grab a picture and it takes you to a website. Like, what, that's happening for a reason. So yeah, so that's really awesome. So yeah, so that is a lot of, the SEO side of it. And again, why this just, the marketing is just like endless amounts of, ways that you can use this. One thing though that I did want to talk about is also landing pages, because it can get a little confusing because we just released the ability to create multiple pages, and we like to refer to them as landing pages. So you could use this multiple ways. You could be using this, like, as I mentioned earlier, where you have a multi-page website. So previously when we first launched this, it was just a one pager. So it was like you would just have one page and then you could link to different parts of the page. But a couple months ago though, we released, might have been longer than that at this point, but we released a landing page tool. So now you can build multiple pages, link them all together to one website, or you can use them either way, is use them separately. And I am obsessed with it. I cannot like begin to tell you how cool landing pages is. And I'm going to go over it, but I do want to mention that if you go to our help center, which I'll show you at the end here, just travefy.com/support, we have a webinar that's about like the anatomy of a landing page, and it'll break down every single part. So it makes it easy. So if you want to build a landing page, go check out that video and it'll break it down and show you what you could do. Very easy. But basically, when you're creating a page, you just can say create new page. You can create as many as you want. But I'm actually going to go to one that I already created because it's really amazing. And this is actually what I created in that webinar I'm talking about. This right here, I and yeah, I'll post that landing page video in there. But the thing though that's great is that you can do this for anything. So think about like packages you have, promotions, specific trips that you want to promote, market. In this example, it's a river cruise. So pretend you have a river cruise, a group river cruise you're trying to get people signed up for. Or another good example I've seen is if you do destination weddings and you want to create a landing page for every wedding you're working with, you could do that because remember, you can copy. So you can copy pages, so you don't have to start all over. But in this example, I just created this simple landing page here. And I have my hero, my call out, what is this for? It's a Danube River cruise. And, look at this beautiful photo. I have a quick, cruise at a glance. I have, just a quick, pretend client review that I made up there. And then I have that trip. So I imported that trip in here. And then at the end, I have that form. So I have that form. So if you're interested and you want to reserve your space, fill out this form. And it's super easy. And I'm going to send this to everybody, actually. I'm going to put this in. I'm just so proud of it. Let me put it in the chat. I'm going to send this to everybody. So anybody can check this out. And you will also notice that I have it domain masked, which I will talk about here. But that is my landing page. And that's just a really good example of how to create just one single landing page. Like I might link this to my main website, but it's not my main website, So that's kind of how that's working. And when you do create a different page, you can always you'll have your domain, but you can always give it a page slug. Now we call it a slug, and that's what's after, that's the unique part after that domain. So my domain is travelistas.travel.com, and then it's dash 2022 dash river dash cruise. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is that's really cool because a lot of times when you're just, you're talking to people and you're like, oh, you want to get more information on that? Just go to travelistas.travel.com/river cruise or whatever it might be. So that's what's really cool. So that's why I really like that little touch there. But again, the landing page builder it's the possibilities are so endless. You can use this and share it on social media, share it in monthly newsletters. There's so many things you can do. We've seen a lot of cool stuff too coming out of that. But one thing that I did want to talk about, since I did bring up the domain masking, that's pretty much the last thing I want to talk about is domain masking. Because when we're talking about a website, we're talking about, what link are they going to, and so if you go into your website builder and you haven't used it, and you don't have domain masking set up already, it'll be travefy.com and there'll be like a dash and then a jumble of letters and numbers afterwards. So you can use that. You can start using them right away. You don't have to have a domain. But if you do own a domain already, and again, you can purchase those. We don't have any affiliation, but the first one that always comes to mind is GoDaddy. So think of that as an example, but there's many other options where you can purchase a domain. And then once you purchase a domain from outside Travefy, because we don't host domains, you can actually set up your domain in your Travefy account. And it's really easy to do, actually. So how to do it is if you go to your settings. So if I go back out to my main account here, and then I click on account, and then I click settings, you can set up your domain here. And you can choose to set it up based on subdomain or main domain. The difference is if you, let's say you have viptravel.com, it's already a website, you own that already. So then what you would do in here is you would set it up as a subdomain. So that way you can still use it, but it's not pointing to your main site. But if you're going to use Travefy as your main website, then you would just set that up as the main domain. Now, I know that's a little confusing for everybody, but I promise you it's actually really easy to do, but we can help you do that. So we understand that you are not fiddling around with DNS and domains daily. So we will help you do that. Here is an FAQ if you want to take a try at it on your own. Like I said, it's pretty easy if you know how to get into your domain to set it up. But we walk you through how to do that on here. But also, if you do need assistance, we also can schedule a domain masking training with you. So I'm actually going to let me share this in here with you as well. And we can help you do that. And again, it usually can take, 5 to 10 minutes. If we do struggle with it, like we're pretty I'd say we're pretty good at it. Matt does them probably a lot all the time. Helps to set up those domains. But we do realize the good thing is if there's something we both are confused on, your domain, we think it's supposed to work, and so do we think it's supposed to work. We can ask our team and help figure things out and do all that. But the best part is it's free to do that. So it's also free to set up your domain. And when you do set up your domain, it also will domain mask your trips. So, for example, like when I send this trip to somebody, see how it says travefy.com at the top? It'll be domain masked to yours. So it'll be there. And then also, if you send a form to somebody, it's also domain masked. So it's kind of a no-brainer to do, to be honest, because it's an extra level of branding, and to purchase a domain's typically not too expensive. So I would definitely recommend looking into it if you're interested in that. But okay, that was a lot. I know that's a lot. I already saw one chat that someone said, I'm going to have to watch this a couple times. I get it. The website builder, there's so many things you can do that there's a lot of different stuff. But also a reminder, definitely check out our help center. If you click on the help button in the top right-hand corner here, we have tons of videos in here. Just, things. We have weekly webinars on, things. And then we can also, of course, set up those one-on-one training sessions as well. But I'm going to go ahead and open up for Q&A. But I did want to go to one first because there's a question that we get a lot. And since we have Matt here, I'm going to have him help answer it. But Matt, can you help answer this question? I actually saw it come through as if you just set up your page, how do you get it to show up in Google search results? So like what you were showing us earlier, how do you do that? How do you get that?
Yeah, and I'll share my screen again to show you how to do that. And before I get going on that, I just want to apologize to not getting to everyone's questions today. If I for some reason cannot get to everything here, just hop into like regular chat support this afternoon and maybe ask the same question if I'm not able to answer it here. A lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones in there today. So
I know.
Anyway, back to the original question about. Once you publish a website and you want to, let me see here. I'm going to make sure I pull up in the right screen. All right. So we're looking at my screen now. So once I publish my website, and you can tell that by it being green there with the publish thing. So what you can do, there is something called Google Search Console, which is going to allow you to request indexing. So if I were to go out to Google and look for example, like culinary tours of Nebraska, and I, for some reason, didn't find my website anywhere on Google, what I can do is I can look for something called Google Search Console. And there is a tool that will allow you to first claim your domain that you own. So you are going to want to, this is only going to be available if you have domain masked your site. But if I jump in here to Google Search Console, you'll see a dashboard that looks something like this. And I've already claimed my website, which is culinarytoursofnebraska.com. But what you can do is you can type in the URL that you want to get indexed. And if it wasn't already indexed, we'll let this spin for a little bit. Otherwise, I've got it pulled open on another tab. Yeah, so while that's spinning, I actually have it open on another tab. What it's going to look like if it is indexed, you're going to see this green check mark. But if it wasn't, if it said it was not in Google's index, there is this button right here where you can just click that. And Google usually takes a few days, but they're pretty good about crawling all the websites out there. And if it's a valid page and there's no error messages and people can get to it, more than likely you will see that indexed in the next few days in Google's search results. So just wanted to kind of highlight that tool. A lot of people don't know about it, but again, it's called Google Search Console. And then Bing also has something called Bing Webmaster Tools, which will allow you to do the same thing.
I was muted. There we go. Awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, because that is, I literally did not know you could do that. So that is really cool. See, telling you. He's on the right one. I do see some questions though here. And again, I know there's a lot of them, and especially with the website too, I would definitely recommend a lot of these are going to be better for just reaching directly out to us, because we can help specifically, especially when it comes to domain masking. We can help you. Everyone's going to be a little different, so we can help you best that way. And if you can, send us like a screenshot of your DNS if you have it, and we can also just chat you and point you in the right direction too. But a couple questions here that I saw that are pretty quick to answer is one asks, how do you make the landing page not part of your website, like for a wedding group? So that's actually what the landing page is automatically, is it's own separate thing. So for example, when I created this like Gems of Southeast Europe, this link, so right there, over there on the right, that's not part of my website. That's like its own URL. So it's kind of like, think of it as when you're creating a Travefy itinerary, and every itinerary, they're not linked together. They have their own URL. So that's how that's working there. So when you make a landing page, it's already all on its own there. And then someone else asked, when you make a contact us button, I had trouble finding a way to change the colors of the characters. So there's actually not a way to change those. So when you add a button, the color that's going to come in automatically is the one that you set it as that branding color. And then there's not a way to change like the text coloring in there, but that's great feedback. That might be something that we add on in the future, but right now it will remain those colors that you see. And then also keep in mind that background color is the one that you set up as your branding color. And then someone else asked, what do you mean by hero? Is that the main title? So the hero is what this element is called. But typically a hero is like when we have email marketing, for example, and you see a picture at the top, that's what we refer to as the hero. Like it's the first thing. It's being literally a marketing hero to us. Like it's getting your attention. And so that's what this is called. The hero with the image on the back and then the text. That's just what we call that element. So again, you don't have to have that at the top of of your website, but that's just what we throw in automatically. But you can change that. You can put whatever you wanted up there. Oops, I just deleted the other one. Oh, I think that was it. I think I meant, let's see.
I wrote down
Matt,
quite a few. Yeah, I've got
cool,
quite a
awesome.
few here that I can pull up for us.
Perfect.
So let me just open that up. Let's see. Someone just asked, do you need to index every individual page? And the answer would be yes. So, for example, if you had your going back to my example, culinary-tours-of-nebraska.com. So we index that one. If I had a page called culinary-tours-of-nebraska.com/tours, I would also want to request indexing on that individual page. So good question there. And yes, you would need to request indexing on each one.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, Google is going to crawl those automatically, but if you're looking for speedier results, I would definitely request indexing.
Cool. One thing I was randomly going to say, because I saw a question come in while I was doing, someone was like, oh, I got to remember this. TravefyTrainingCamp.com is built with this website builder. So FYI. So I know a lot of people are asking, like, I want an example of what it looks like. That's what it looks like. This right here. So just had to throw that out there. Okay, ready for the next question.
Yep. So early on, Rebecca and Heather asked this. They asked, after you add all of your information to the website, can you switch through the different web formats? And I think they meant, can you switch through the different themes to see which one you like best? And so the answer is yes, you can switch through the themes after you added the information. But I thought that was a really good question. And
that is good.
Something that's probably people are wondering about.
That's a good idea.
And then I'll keep going with the questions. So if you want to just jump in or cut me off, just let me know. But I've got another one here. I have purchased a domain with GoDaddy. How do I go about linking it to the Travefy website builder? And so that was, just to reiterate, like that is the domain masking process that Stephanie covered a little bit later in the webinar. So if you do need any help, just let us know. But I know that's a big question that people ask. Another one was, does it auto save your work, or do you have to publish it? And so there's actually two spots that you're going to do this in the website builder. So if you make a change to any one of these elements, you're going to see a blue save button in the builder itself. And so Stephanie, I don't know if you want to demo that since you're looking at it, but if you just click on any of those elements, just to show where that save button is at the top right. So when you make a change, you'll want to hit save. But to have it go live to like your actual website, you'll actually want to hit that green publish button again. So it's kind of a two-step process with the website builder, whereas the itinerary builder, things do kind of happen automatically. With the website builder, you are kind of saving changes as you go and then hitting publish when you're finally ready for that to go live.
Cool.
Let's see here. A couple of these were answered throughout the webinar, so I'll gloss over those because I think people probably got the answer they were looking for. One person was asking who can see this website and how do they access it? So just in case anyone else is wondering about that, once it's live, anyone with the URL is going to be able to see that website. So, you know, if you've domain masked your website, they could type in your domain that you bought and access it that way. You know, if it's the Travefy domain that comes by default, you know, if they typed in that exact URL, they'd be able to see it. But yeah, to answer your question, everyone with that URL would be able to access it.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one, because a lot of people ask that actually. They're like, oh no, is it going to be, I'm not, you know, I don't want people to see it yet, but they would have to have the URL unless your SEO is really top notch right off the bat. And then they're just Googling and finding it. But otherwise, yeah, that URL. Glad you asked that.
Another one that came up when we were discussing titles, they were wondering about the max number of characters you can use in the title so it doesn't get cut off. And there is no like definitive answer to that. I think typically the answer is somewhere around that 55 to 60 character limit, but you could probably fit more characters in some cases, and in some cases less. So what I would do personally is I would go ahead and try to describe your website concisely, and then go out to the search results and see what you actually see. I think it can also depend on the screen size people are viewing it. So there isn't a definitive answer there, but somewhere around that 55 to 60 character limit is probably what you want to aim for, or less. And let's see. Someone wants to know how to link to your Facebook page. So I don't know if you want to just show how to do an external link and show you for social media links.
I totally forgot to show that part. Yeah. So, so you could do it a couple ways. So, I would recommend, I'm going to show you in the nav bar in the footer. So if you click into the nav bar or down at the footer, see how those little icons are there? I think we display those automatically, trying to get you to put those in so you can see. But how you do that though, let me go back up to the nav bar, is just click add item. And then you just want to make it, you can click link, but then you'd have to write Facebook. So I would click the button one and then say button type and then do external link. And then where it says icon, you can choose an icon. And so you could say like Facebook. And then you can put the link URL in there. And then, so let's just say, I'm just going to put facebook.com. We'll just put, and then I'm going to remove the button because I don't really need that in there. You don't have to have that, because see how, okay, wait, I think I need to make this more legible. There we go. I think that should work. Maybe because, oops, Travefy. I don't know what I did. I think I clicked a button here. But what it does is then see how you click, and then it'll just appear as that logo up there at the top. And then same down here on that footer, you can see it's already in there actually. And then if you just click that pencil icon, you can put that link in there as well. So we do have those already available to you as the little icons for social media.
see. Another one was just if you want to show people how to delete a landing page if they no longer need it, just where to go for
Yeah.
that.
So, what you'll want to do is I'm just going to create a new page here, and this one is just my untitled. So that's how you'll see that which one. And then if you want to delete it, just go into the settings, click those three little dots, and then click delete. And there you go.
All right. And then I know a ton of new questions came in through as we were talking, so I didn't get a chance to sort
I
of look at
know.
those. Let's see here. So apologies, people. I'm gonna look
Yeah,
at
we
this
might have
one.
time for one more. We'll do one more here. Sorry to put the pressure on you, Matt. Find a good
Yeah,
one.
find a good
Here we
one.
go.
Let's see. Does the website on Travefy link to your actual website? Let's see. I probably shouldn't have picked that one because I'm not sure
Well,
what you mean there,
yeah,
unless you have an idea.
I mean, the only thing I can think is if like it's not again because we when we were talking about that earlier, it's same thing with like the link. Like if you publish your website, only people who can get that like has to have the link. So if your website has if you connect it like as an external link, then yeah, but not like there's no way automatically it would in there. And one question too, Jerome asked, can you archive a landing page? No, so it doesn't work like trips do. You can't archive it, you can only delete. So this is a good question there.
One really good one from Daniela just asked about being able to see questions later and not being able to see some of the private responses I sent to people. So that's a really good question. If your answer was, or if your question was not answered, definitely like jump into your account and ask the same question. We should be able to get an answer to you this afternoon. But yeah, apologies on not getting to every single
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Yeah, the questions, yeah, they're a little bit different because again, there's a lot of people in this, which is awesome, but we didn't want to bombard you, so we turned it so that we are just answering people back and when we answer those questions back. So there won't be a way that you can see those. So definitely let us know. Just shoot us an email, get us chat in your account, and we can answer those questions. And if there was something specific, Matt and I will probably remember what it was. So you can call out our name, and then if someone else outside of Matt or I see it, they'll know we can help out. But just to quickly wrap up though, a couple things that I want to quickly share is one, tomorrow when we wrap up, join us for trivia happy hour. It's gonna be a really good time. It'll be a really fun, that we can see everyone's faces, grab a cocktail, enjoy. Oh, it's gonna be a good time. Prizes, you can win prizes as well. So it'll be really awesome there. And then also, just before we say goodbye, we will be back on in less than a half an hour for the next session. And it's the last session of the day for day 3. And that is going to be 10 tips for using your library with Scott. And it's going to be awesome. Like, totally recommend. Really recommend. It's going to be great. But thank you so much. Thanks, Matt, too, man. SEO guru coming
Yeah, this was
at
fun.
us. Look at that. So awesome. But thank you so much again, everyone. Again, email us with your questions. We will get those answered as quick as we can. And thank you so much, everyone. And hopefully we see you on the next sessions coming up. We'll see you later.
See ya.